For this video, I want to show you how you can import and work with sound in After Effects. So the first thing to do is to get the sound into my project folder. And you can see here that I've got a project folder called Demos that I've set up for this project. And I'm going to just find my file that I've downloaded. And I put it on the desktop, I believe. So I'm going to take it off the desktop and put it into my folder. So it's super important that that comes from the project folder. It doesn't come from some random place, because it will be gone the next time you open up your session. I guarantee it. So make sure it's in the folder. Once I'm in After Effects, I go to Command-I or File, Import, File. So I like the key command shortcut of Command-I, but here's the long way. And I go and look for that file, and there it is. And it's an AIFF, so that's totally fine. And so it's in my project window now. So the first thing, well, if it's just a minute long and you're happy with the whole thing, then just drop it in. And now you have the full soundtrack in there. One feature of After Effects is that you can see the waveform. So you do that by clicking on these little triangles to look down at the waveform. This is useful because you can see sound envelopes and events, right? So this is the envelope of, say, this occurrence here. It peaks here and it kind of drops off. This helps you sync up your visuals and sounds. So you can put keyframes for your visuals when the sounds become their most intense or most loudest, right? And that's, you can see all that happening, right? So it's a great way of creating sync sound and image. Now, another thing you might want to do, I'm just going to delete this to show you, is that maybe you have a longer soundtrack. Now you can see that this, if I double click on the track, you can see that it's over 2 minutes long, right? So this project is going to be between, say, 30 seconds and a minute. So maybe you just want one part of that soundtrack. Start it somewhere in the middle, say. And you can do that by clicking here. Say I want to just start at 45 seconds. So I'll press that, press return, and it just takes me right to 45 here. I'm going to select this endpoint, this little bracket here, and that'll create an endpoint at 45. And I'm just going to go advance it a little bit. Let's say to 1 minute and 20 seconds. And then I'm going to press my out bracket here. And that little bracketing there creates an in and out point for what I'm going to just drop into here. So now I've got a selection that isn't as long as the composition, but you can see that's a great way to just do some pre-editing. Now you can preview by clicking on that. You can preview your soundtrack by pressing spacebar and just clicking on this project window any point here, right? And this is a great way to see what you want to actually put in before you have to, start to cut in the timeline. You can do some pre-editing here, just importing what you need, right? The other thing to think about here is this is a non-destructive form of editing, right? So say you reach this point and you go, oh, you know what? I really want to have a little bit more on it. Kind of cuts off at a weird point. Well, you can always just extend it here. And there you go. So you see it's very flexible in terms of just creating an in and out point, a manageable amount of information, and then just finding your sweet spot within the timeline. So that's a really great thing you can do. So in addition to previewing what you have up here, you can also play what you have down on the timeline by pressing spacebar and clicking on the cursor. Now, something may occur for you, right? Which is that the whole sequence won't play out. So as you begin developing lots of keyframes and layers and visuals and sounds, the RAM of the computer won't be able to preview in real time for you. It'll slow down, it'll stagger a little bit. So a couple of things you can do to minimize that. The first thing to do is if I zoom out all the way down here in my little zoom bar, is I'm going to just take my preview area, my work area, I'm going to shrink that down to a manageable, say, 10 seconds, right? So only preview 10 seconds at a time. You can move this as well, but you can also change its boundaries too at the end with the arrows. So just previewing a manageable area will probably let you play it through. If that still doesn't work, if you still have way too much information, the problem is that you're previewing at full resolution, right? So if you go up here where it says full, you can see that then you have a menu here, a drop-down menu, where you can just preview at a quarter. And that's a quarter of the resolution. So it may look a little fuzzy, but if what you're really trying to preview is your motion, then it's actually a really good tool because it'll allow you to preview your motions in real time as opposed to having it stagger and go in and out. You'll know this, you'll know it's previewing in real time if you see that green line there, right? So the green line right below your preview area will tell you that this is, if there's gaps in it, then it's not previewing at real time. So one great way to do it is to reduce your work area, but additionally you might want to reduce the resolution that you preview at. Now, it's not going to affect your final resolution because before you export, you're going to go back to full. So, and you'll export at full resolution. So this is just a preview of what you're working on.